My name is Brittany Hoyne, and this is going to be my Tableau assignment for my Strategic Management and Decision Making course. So let's get started within the data. So, by looking over this data, we're going to see various things. This is going to be broken down into necessarily company names, or we can call them teams necessarily. As you can tell, we have Andrews, Baldwin, Chester, Digby, Erie, Ferris, Garrett, and Average. So basically what's going to happen within this data is we're going to have different rounds that we're going to be looking at. There's going to be a total of 3 rounds of data. So as we can tell, we're going to look at different things such as like their sales, their leverage, their asset turnover, and basically how all of that data is being measured. So once we're going to look at the first sheet, which is going to be the measured based on company. So this is going to be based on the first round. So as you can tell, there are various differences on how each company is doing in the first round. As you can tell, it does look like Ferris is in the lead when it does come to the first measure where it looks like it's at 0.15%, where Andrews is at a negative 14.50%. As you can tell, that is like a total separation necessarily. So it does look like as we're moving up, you can see the performance based on how someone is doing, and each company is positively moving higher and higher. Now in the next sheet, we're going to actually see the differences by each round that has been taking place. As you can tell, for each team, it does look like everyone is pretty much staying stable. So it does look like, for the most part, each company is staying in the same area. And it does look like certain companies are slightly moving up. It does look like Ferris is still in the lead because they are at a constant growth point. And then it does look like Digby is following, where they're at a negative point within their measure compared to Ferris. They got higher than Ferris, but it does look like they are falling back down, which could be a problem necessarily because they aren't staying consistent. Although they are not letting the numbers go too far down, numbers is everything within a company and company growth. Now, it does look like as we are moving down, mostly all the other companies are kind of staying constant when it comes between the 3 rounds. There's not very much differences. Some are moving up, some are moving down, and some are staying more at a constant space. Now, this does bring us back to Andrews. Now, as you can tell, Andrews started off very high, and it looks like throughout the rounds, it does look like the numbers are getting lower and lower between their measure and how they're doing as a company. This could be an issue and also a helping point for this company, so then basically they can compare on what they are doing wrong, what they need to change in order for them to get back on top, so then they can basically have this grow. Now, when we are comparing these companies, it does look like there are many differences. It does look like, based off of our last sheet that we did look at from the round, it does look like, comparing the companies, Digby and Ferris are definitely in the lead. It looks like they are gaining the highest numbers, and then mostly all the other companies, even it does look like Andrews it looks like they're staying in the same area, the same general area, the same performance metric, which, like I said, could be a learning point because we want our numbers to get higher and higher, so it's a growth point like that. But it does look like they are staying pretty similar, which, like I said, it directs the companies on what they need to do in order to make any changes. Now, putting all this data together, I'm going to make it easier for everyone to see. We're able to see all of this data put together. So we're basically able to see everything and basically individualize each company on where they are at without looking at any other companies. So let's start off with the company that's not doing so well. So that's going to be Andrews. So once I do click on that, you can see the data does fluctuate. The numbers do end up changing, and then we're able to see that with the yellows and the oranges, it does look like with that, the numbers are not doing so well. As you can tell, it does look like compared to other companies, the numbers will end up getting, or I should say the colors will end up getting darker when they end up getting more positive in numbers. So it does look like the lighter the colors, it does look like not as well as what the company is doing. Then we can look at this and compared to the previous sheet, you can see that it's more so by itself, and this is where it does stand comparing to others. Now, what I am going to do comparing to Andrew, since that is the lowest number, we're going to stick with talking about Ferris, since it does look like they are the one company that is consistent. So as you can tell, it does look like with this color, they are the highest, which means they are getting the darkest color, which means their measure and their numbers are continuing to rise. It does look like right here, their measure is pretty consistent with moving forward and moving up, which is beneficial, so they know that they are in the right direction. What they are doing is positively impacting their business, so they know like, hey, as of right now, we do not have to make much changes. So basically this tool is very, very beneficial, especially when it does come to companies, because they are able to compare themselves to other competitions, so they know what they need to do to individualize themselves from the competition and what changes they do need to make in order for positive stuff to happen so they can grow their business, because the last thing any company wants to do is to go out of business. So I do appreciate you guys taking the time and looking over my Tableau assignment. See you next time.